Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you as always by Lay of the Land and hosted by me, Rolene Marks. Sadly, no back mask today. Purim is over, but it is International Women's Day. And for all the women out there who deserve to be celebrated, our status around the world improved, this day is for you. But let's take a look at the top stories making headlines in Israel before I conclude with what the situation is like for women in Israel. And we begin with news that Palestinians set off an explosive device near to where IDF soldiers were operating on the Gaza border just a short while ago. There were no casualties. Now, the IDF is striking targets in the Gaza Strip, and this is in response to a rocket that was fired by terror entities in the Strip towards Israel in the early hours of this morning. The rocket landed in the Gaza Strip, and just to note that these rockets are often fired from within civilian infrastructures inside of Gaza towards Israel's civilians, and it's a double war crime because not only are they fired from within civilian infrastructure, but many times they also fall short in Gaza and have seriously hurt or even killed Gazan civilians. Now, yesterday, the IDF conducted a raid in the city of Jenin. Jenin is a hotbed of terrorist activity, and during a heavy exchange of gunfire, the terrorist that was responsible for the murder of the two brothers Hillel and Yagel Yaniv just last Sunday was eliminated. The U.S. State Department said they back Israel's raid into Jenin. However, they went on to condemn what they call settler violence in the town of Huwara. At least 40 former police officers, including retired police chiefs, have called on Prime Minister Netanyahu to fire National Security Minister Itamar Ben Gvir. The police officers say that he is acting contrary to the authority of his office and that his instructions to call for the destruction of illegal homes during the Muslim festival of Ramadan is irresponsible and shows a lack of understanding of the situation in Jerusalem. The former police officers also expressed their concerns that Itamar Ben Gvir's inflammatory comments and actions could spark another intifada. They also confirmed that they will be participating in the protests that take place in Tel Aviv this coming Saturday night. On the subject of the two boys that were murdered, it has been reported that 4 recipients have received the corneas from the 2 murdered boys. This is Yagel and Hillel Yaniv. Both were organ donors and carried the organ donor cards, and the surgeries were done with the permission of their parents. There is no more details that have been given about who the donor recipients are. Now, at the beginning of this broadcast, I mentioned that today is International Women's Day, and in Israel it is certainly no different. And while Israeli women enjoy a better set of circumstances than many of the women in our neighborhood, having had one of the first female prime ministers in the world, and significantly enjoy more rights, including the right to vote, the right to own property, the right to work in whatever fields we want to, the right to serve in the army, the right to drive cars, the right to run companies. Women in Israel serve in all stratas of society, from the top echelons of the government, in the military, in the private sector, in the public sector. The choice is endless. However, there is still the major threat of gender-based violence affecting many women in Israel. At least we don't have some of the scenarios we see in other parts of our region that include honor killings, that see women forbidden from voting or from driving cars or from owning property. Nevertheless, Israeli women still campaign very hard for the improvement of the status of women, including gender parity. There are still major pay gaps, which we are trying to fix, and representation in many spheres of society. Sadly, Israel's current government has seen a significant reduction in the amount of females that serve and hold positions as ministers, something we are hoping to rectify with the next elections. So wherever you are in the world, whether you be in Australia or in Scandinavia, from North America, South America, Africa, Europe, all over the world, happy International Women's Day. The fight continues for so many around the world who don't have the rights that we do here in Israel. And that brings me to the end of today's broadcast. Don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. You can read through our archived articles for more stories about women and women in the region, including those of Afghanistan, of Iran, and of the Palestinian areas. We are on Facebook. You can find us at Lottel's site. Please like us, follow us, and share our content. Our YouTube channel is at The Israel Brief. Please consider subscribing by clicking on the red subscribe button and liking and sharing our content. And we're on Twitter at LayOfTheLand5. I'm Rolene Marks. This is The Israel Brief, and we'll check in with each other tomorrow for your top stories.